Update: OnePlus 5 no longer in stock. The OnePlus 5 hasn't even reached its first birthday, and is already out of stock in both the UK and the US, amidst fears the handset is on the way out. All three models of the OnePlus 5 are out of stock on the official OnePlus website, while in the UK, 2 of the 3 are no longer available for purchase. If you're willing to sacrifice for the gold variant, best pick one up now while stocks last. The only other place you can buy OnePlus 5 in the UK is through network operator O2, which still has some stock left, but best grab one soon to save disappointment. There's no official word yet on whether the OnePlus 5 will come back in stock, or whether the handset has already neared the end of its lifespan. Could a OnePlus 6 launch already be on the horizon? We've reached out to OnePlus for comment, and will update this review as soon as we hear back. That being said, my original OnePlus 5 review continues below. OnePlus 5 review: OnePlus, it seems, has suffered from a severe case of tetraphobia. That is, the superstitious fear of using the number 4. The Chinese manufacturer's latest isn't called the OnePlus 4, as you'd expect the phone succeeding the OnePlus 3T to be called. No, this is the OnePlus 5, and it's the best if most expensive smartphone the firm has ever produced. OnePlus may have been overly cautious with its name, but not so much when keeping key details under wraps prior to the official unveiling. Again, and not uncommon for 2017, little was left to the imagination ahead of its launch. We knew everything. Don't let that stop your excitement, though there's plenty on offer that makes the OnePlus 5 a worthy contender for Phone of the Year. Read next: Best Smartphone 2017 OnePlus 5 Review. What you need to know: the OnePlus 5 is a flagship killer, designed to undercut the likes of Samsung's Galaxy S8 and Apple's iPhone 7 by a considerable margin, without sacrificing neither looks nor performance. Launched in June, the OnePlus 5 is a 5.5 inches smartphone with an AMOLED Full HD screen and a dual-lens camera that doesn't look out of place on the shelf next to those other top-dollar smartphones launched in 2017. OnePlus 5 Review: Price and competition. Essential to the OnePlus 5's lasting appeal lies in its more wallet-pleasing asking price. At £449, OnePlus' sixth smartphone undermines the mortgage-inducing price tag of its flagship competitors. Image 8 of 21. However, 2017 has already been a phenomenal year for flagship-killing alternatives. There's Samsung's Galaxy A5 mid-ranger, complete with a 22-hour battery life, at just £293. The Honor 8 is still kicking about too, with its brilliant low-light camera at £370. That, and the OnePlus 3T can be picked up for £400. OnePlus 5 Review: Designate. First glance, the OnePlus 5 looks like typical smartphone fare. You can't veer too far from a black rectangle after all, and it looks eerily similar to Huawei's P10 and the iPhone 7 it imitates. It's a bold new look for OnePlus nonetheless. In keeping with Apple's minimalism, there's the aluminium unibody design, with just a handful of distinguishing features, including a dual-lens camera protrusion on the back. Rest assured, that beloved Do Not Disturb switch makes another appearance on the left edge, too. Image 3 of 21. Next to it, you'll find the volume rocker, and on the opposite side, the power button. A 3.5mm headset jack is at the bottom fuse, sitting next to a solitary USB Type-C with dash charge support and a central fingerprint scanner as before. This is the skinniest OnePlus yet, measuring just 7.25mm, and it feels phenomenal in the hand. OnePlus 5 Review: Performance and battery life. As the leaks suggested, the OnePlus 5's internal architecture comes from Qualcomm's latest 2.45 GHz Snapdragon 835 chip, up from the 2.35 GHz Snapdragon 831 inside the 3T. It will be a near-perfect multitasker with a generous 6 or 8 GB of RAM, with storage options starting at 64 GB. It's no surprise, then, that the OnePlus 5 is one of the best performers we've seen thus far. In short, as you can see by the graph below, the OnePlus 5 is near identical to Samsung's Galaxy S8 and the HTC U11 in both single-core and multi-core performance, with the OnePlus edging slightly ahead. Fantastic then, considering the OnePlus 5 is almost £200 cheaper than its identical performers. Likewise, the OnePlus graphics performance is more than good enough to handle anything Google Play throws at it. Again, as the below chart proves, the OnePlus 5's on-screen result is identical to the iPhone 7 Plus, and beats the Galaxy S8 by a considerable margin. Why is this? Well, the S8's added screen resolution plays a massive part, having to render at 2960 by 1440 resolution rather than the OnePlus 1920 by 1080, i.e. double the number of pixels. The last thing to test, and crucially the most important, is the OnePlus battery life. Longevity is the biggest thing people look for when making the smartphone buying decision these days, and the OnePlus 5 doesn't disappoint. In our battery life test, with the screen set to our standard 170 CDM2 brightness and flight mode turned on, the OnePlus 5 lasted a near-perfect 20 hours and 40 minutes. In reference, that's over twice as long as Sony's XZ Premium and near identical to Samsung's similarly impressive Galaxy S8 Plus. And should battery levels fall flat, the phone charges incredibly fast thanks to the Dash Charge 3 charger bundled in the box. After 12 minutes of charging from zero, battery levels had reached 21%, and after just 39 minutes there was 75% worth of juice. It's not so fast after that, taking another 15 minutes or so to reach 100%. OnePlus 5 review display. Rather than going the big screen approach like with LG's G6 and Samsung's Galaxy S8, OnePlus is keeping things simple, with a 5.5 inches 1920 by 1080 display. It's the same as last year's offering, I Hear You Cry, but there are a handful of changes worthy of your attention. The biggest, and welcome, change is a DCI-P3 color profile, along with a standard sRGB and a custom profile. The latter, I expect, will be most users' go-to setting, with overly bright, punchy images that are perhaps a touch too oversaturated for my tastes. Image 13 of 21. That brings us to the issue of sRGB. The panel on this year's OnePlus isn't as nice as I'd want it to be, only covering 89.8% of the sRGB color space profile, with particularly dull-looking reds. An average delta E of 1.76 is hardly apocalyptic, but I've seen much better. The DCI-P3's pre-calibrated mode fared much better, with the OnePlus hitting 95.3% of the sRGB color gamut. It's a perfectly readable display in bright sunlight too, reaching 419 CDM2 at top brightness. Where the firm has quite obviously poured all its money into, is the OnePlus 5's dual lens camera. OnePlus 5 review camera. The rear snapper, manufactured in collaboration with DxO Labs, incorporates one 16-megapixel f1.7 main camera and another 20-megapixel f2.6 telephoto camera right beside it. Both work hand in hand to produce fantastic quality snaps and some of the best I've seen on a device at this price point. Image 9 of 21. That 16-megapixel camera is your main snapper, but just like with the iPhone 7 Plus, the 20-megapixel camera works as a 2x zoom for getting closer to objects in the distance. It'll also help with producing an iPhone-like bokeh effect, blurring the background without sacrificing subject quality. One of the features OnePlus made most of at the launch is its HDR algorithm improvements, although there's little evidence of that in my test shots. Not only are the effects of HDR basically non-existent, in some shots colors looked completely off. One of my test shots below highlights this well. The no smoking sign should be red, rather than the gray it seems to be showing. Image 5 of 21. Don't let that put you off though. The OnePlus 5 still produces some wonderfully detail-rich and perfectly exposed shots in regular mode. While low-light snaps seem to suffer a little from over-sharpening and a touch of unnatural processing, the results were incredibly crisp, still looking remarkable compared to the Pixel's top-quality snapper. The front-facing camera has seen a boost to 16 megapixels, with a f2.0 aperture, perfect for your Instagram-worthy vanity shots. Video quality is very good as well. Not only is the camera able to capture a detail-rich 4K footage, it benefits from ultra-smooth electronic image stabilization (EIS), making it look like the phone is sitting on a proper Steadicam rig. Video of OnePlus 5 4K video EIS upgrade before and after. As you can see in my test footage against the OnePlus 5 before the update, the EIS does a phenomenal job. This feature wasn't in the original software release for the phone, only added a couple of months after release, but improvements and additions such as this demonstrate OnePlus' commitment to keeping the phone's software up to date and current, and bode well for the immediate future. Let's hope for a move to Android sometime soon as well. OnePlus 5 review verdict. Oneplus has a solid flagship killer with its OnePlus 5. This is the best smartphone the firm has ever produced, and I'm thoroughly impressed with what the Chinese firm has been up to since its predecessor's launch. As with all smartphones, the success of the OnePlus 5 rests on its asking price. With the cost rising from £399 to £449, the OnePlus 5 is in danger of losing its best mid-range smartphone tag, especially now the far more capable Samsung Galaxy S8 has fallen in price. The OnePlus 5 remains the best value smartphone on the market, then, but it's not quite the outright bargain its predecessors were.